Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Creative CEO Podcast. This is the podcast for mums and dads, pet parents included, who are running a creative business alongside parenthood. I want to help you navigate the ups and downs of being the CEO of your business and the CEO of your household. You can build a successful business whilst juggling dirty nappies, teenage bedrooms, part-time jobs, or needy dogs. Whatever keeps you busy will not stop you from building your dream life. In this episode, I'm going to share my experience of launching a product and bringing it to market in the same year that I was a brand new mum, and give you my advice on what I have learned from this whole experience. Thank you so much for everyone that has been listening. If you want to help the podcast, the best thing that you can do is actually to download the episodes. And if you follow the podcast on Apple, if you press the actual follow button, you should get automatic downloads. But the downloads is how I can gauge how well the podcast is doing, and it helps Apple to know that the podcast is doing well. And I just want to blow this podcast out of the water because I'm really enjoying doing it. I feel like this is the space that I feel like I needed a few years ago. I didn't feel like there was anyone that I could totally relate to in the UK who was running a business whilst doing everything else. So I really hope that this podcast is helping you guys. So if you could just download the episodes each week or each fortnight, I really would love to be doing weekly ones, but I just know that I can't at the moment. If you have time, please leave a review and a rating because that will also help. But thank you so much for listening. So I've had a good couple of weeks business-wise. September was really, really slow. I thought September people would be buying, but actually I realised when I went to New York, I remember thinking, God, I can hear so many British accents as I was kind of just walking around, people talking to other people. And then I realised that, you know, the people that don't have jobs like teaching or who don't have children in school, they probably go away in September. So a lot of my target market probably go away in September. So that's probably why September's been quite a slow month. However, in the last week, I started this drawing at the game fair in July, and I kind of put it in my drawers and I hadn't really touched it. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to finish that because it'll probably take me an hour to finish. I finished it really quickly and then I added some silver leaf to it. I can't even show you because it's been sold. I've put it up onto my website and I put a video on TikTok and was talking about this piece that I was doing. And I had so many messages saying, oh my God, is this for sale? Is this for sale? And I was like, oh no, not yet, but it'll be on my website tomorrow. And I put the drawing on my website, and within about an hour it had sold. And I hadn't even promoted it. And that was just the first time that's ever happened that something is sold that quickly. And I was over the moon. I thought, why did I not put it on for double the price? But, you know, it's fine. I'm so pleased that it sold so quickly. And it just shows the power of TikTok. I'm not very good on TikTok. I don't really enjoy it as much as Instagram. And I also thought TikTok people didn't tend to sort of spend much money. I thought they would spend less, but you just don't know where your target audience necessarily are. So, you know, one of my pieces of advice, which I was going to talk about later, is, you know, really do utilize all the different social media channels, because without me putting that original video on TikTok, I don't know whether it would have sold. I think it was because I used TikTok for this particular drawing that it actually sold. So that's one of my big wins over the last couple of weeks. So yesterday, so the Tuesday prior to this podcast coming out, I launched mystery boxes. So these are boxes and I'm basically selling my homewares, but I'm doing it in a mysterious way. So people can go onto my website and choose a small, medium or large box, and I will hand select products for you. The mystery boxes are going to be full of the homewares that I have created. And then I'm also doing some original pieces and as part of a mystery box. So you get one original piece plus a couple of mystery items. But the reason why I wanted to do this is, first of all, I am stopping my homewares temporarily. The reason I'm stopping them is because I have recently been accepted into a gallery, which has been like one of my dreams. And I just know that I can't spread myself so thinly and do gallery commissions, prints, homewares, podcast, all the other stuff that I want to do. I thought I'm going to have to stop something, and the homewares felt like the most logical element of my business to temporarily stop. It's not part of my business that I want to be completely known for. I want to be known as an artist, and the homewares was just something that I really, really wanted to try out, and I'm so grateful and pleased that I did try it out, and I've learned so much from it, but I don't want to become known as a homeware brand. I want to be known for my art. So obviously I want to sell the remaining products that I've got. And the way that I wanted to do it was through the mystery boxes, because I love these pieces so much. I wanted to be almost part of, selecting my favorite pieces for you. And you can see examples of all of the items that you could get in your box on my website. I just thought it'd be such a nice idea, and I have had some nice feedback. So yeah, I hope I sell more. I hope I sell them all. That would be nice. I promise you will not be disappointed. So if you would like to have a look at my mystery boxes, everything is on my website, www.georgieturnerartist.co.uk. It really is while stocks last. Once all of the products are gone, they are gone. It was the launch of these mystery boxes that reminded me how far I've actually come in the last 2 years. And it really is 2 years. It was October 2 years ago that I started. And when I was pregnant, I wanted to create a wildlife themed nursery. I didn't know what gender of baby I was having. So I was creating like a neutral themed nursery. And I remember I completed 3 drawings before she arrived. And then she was born. And then while she was a newborn, I completed some more. And let me tell you how hard it is to draw when you've got a child strapped to you, because you've got like an extra layer of body. And it's really hard to like actually even like physically get your hand on the paper. But I did it. And I think those 3 drawings took me, I don't think I finished I think they took me about 4 or 5 months just to do 3 drawings. Being on maternity leave, it did give me the space to do more with my business, but it takes a lot longer because you're not thinking about building your business. You're thinking about getting a shower or just having a nice meal or getting up and making a cup of tea and just spending time with your baby. I think it's really important to show that not every business is run by somebody who can just work 5 days a week. I want you to feel like you can do it, even if you've got lots of other dependencies as well. That's what this whole point of this podcast is. If you want something enough, you can do it around all of your other priorities in life. So I'm going to talk specifically today about my homeware range, how I brought it to market, but obviously with the element of hindsight. So I did not do everything perfectly. Like, no way. I'm not a guru. I'm not a business guru. But I've always learned through trial and error. I'm not very good at doing research. I do lots of listening to podcasts. There is one podcast which I feel like I should share about. I'm not being paid to share it, but I love listening to it. It's called Nudge. And it's a podcast hosted by, I can't remember his name. He works for HubSpot. And HubSpot is, I should know this because my dad sold the software. That was like one of his things that he did. Oh my God. It's an SEO, email marketing software. Sorry, Dad. I can't suddenly forgotten what it is. But it's a company that does all the things that I really struggle with. Yeah, there's this podcast called Nudge, and the presenter is really good at, he presents you with scenarios that he tests a lot of like marketing things and talks about them on his podcast. And the one that I listened to yesterday was about the power of sharing. If you love what you make, it's supposed to help you sell more. And I was like, oh my God, I never tell anybody how much I love to make my products or love to make my art. I just assume they know. But it's true. I've totally loved bringing my products to market. I've loved the whole process of it. I love the process of creating my art, but I don't use that as a marketing strategy. So that's just a really good example of a podcast which will actually give you like decent information to help you grow your marketing strategy. So I haven't gone on any training courses. I've just learned from failures and successes and from listening to other people. I'm talking about a product-based business here. If you don't sell products or anything physical, then hopefully you can still relate to this if you are selling, a service or a digital product or something like that. But I'm going to talk specifically about products and about my homewares and what I've learned from bringing my homewares to market. So first of all, you obviously have to start with an original idea. Now, obviously mugs, tea towels, pots, that's not an original idea, but what makes my work original are the designs. And I knew that I wanted to target people who liked the British countryside. So my whole target audience with my original pieces and my commissions are people who love the outdoors, the British countryside. They want to feel the nostalgic connection to the countryside through the eyes of the animals. And that was like my original idea. That's what I wanted to bring to market, and my drawings made it original. Point number 2, which is very similar to that, is you also now need to know your target audience. So you've got an idea, but who are you actually targeting? So like I said, I know who my target audience is, and I listened to another podcast I would recommend is Michelle Gifford. So I love Michelle Gifford. She is a social media Instagram expert. And she has talked all along about you should be talking to one person. So my one person, I don't know if I mentioned this last week. So I have a person, and every time that I am putting anything on social media or on my website, I'm talking to this one person. I've called her Charlotte. She is a mother. She has horses. She lives in the UK. She spends lots of time outdoors. She enjoys horse riding. She enjoys dog walking. She enjoys wearing Fairfax and Favour. I very much am pinning Charlotte on myself a lot, but she's got a bit more money than me, and she's got a better dress sense than me. Create like almost an avatar for your ideal person. Give them a name. You don't obviously have to say, "Hi Charlotte, this is what I'm putting out towards, this is what I'm trying to promote to you." You don't have to tell people who your person is. It just helps having one specific person in mind and targeting that person. Because what's important about marketing is you are telling your ideal customer how your product solves their problem. Always, whenever you're marketing anything, always make sure you turn it back on the customer themselves. How does your product help them? So on The Wolf of Wall Street, at the very end, he does that whole sell me this pen, and then lots of people are like, so it's a really, really nice pen. It holds comfortably in your hand, and he takes it off that person. He gives it to the next one because their answer is rubbish. And they say something similar, like, yeah, so it's really sleek and it writes really well. And he's like, no, take it and give it to the other person. And the last person he goes to, I think I might be misremembering this, unless I read it in the book and I'm misremembering the film. But basically, the best answer was, here, can you sign this? And Georgian Belfort goes, oh, I don't have a pen. And he goes, oh, this is what you need. I've explained that really badly. But essentially what I'm trying to say is just telling somebody how brilliant your products are is not going to sell it to them necessarily. It's about, what problem do you have? And this is how my product is going to help you solve that problem. Okay, so once you know your target audience, you need to create a range of designs. Now, like I've said before, I've got quite a few different designs across my whole art website range. And also like my art, as in the actual big pieces that I do. Like, they are all different, but they have got one central theme and something that I can They all relate to each other because of the British countryside and what I said earlier about nostalgic art that connects somebody back to the British countryside. So you've got to have like a central theme, but have a range of designs. When you are thinking about your target audience and you're thinking about your designs, you also need to be really starting to focus on SEO and keywords. I wouldn't leave this to like just when you're creating your website, because you need to think about your keywords and your SEO. So SEO is search engine optimization. And this will help you be found better on Google and also on social media, because social media is becoming a bit like Google. It's becoming like a search engine itself. So before you've even like got your products to market, you should be thinking about the keywords based around who your target audience is and based around what your designs are. You can use Google and you can use social media sites to almost do like your own keyword search. Hashtags on Instagram sometimes give you a bit of a clue, because if you've got a hashtag that is used far too much, then you know it's never going to help you too much in your rankings because the word will be overused. If I put into Instagram country, there will be millions of uses of that hashtag. But if I put into Instagram British countryside, there will be a lot less. Now, that might be a little bit too specific. So you've got to find the middle ground between keywords that are not used too much and keywords that are not used enough, unless you are targeting a really, really niche audience, which will definitely use those words. You do need to think about your SEO quite early on, because it will affect your Instagram bio, it will affect your hashtags, it will affect your captions. So start thinking about those keywords. It's a good idea to like mind map down of the top 10 keywords that you think your customers would use, and then go and just test them. You know, if you don't have access to a software like HubSpot, go and test them. You know, test them yourself, test them on your social media and see what people are searching for. Put those words into the explore page and see what comes up, and then you can like change them depending on what you feel is going to work for your business. So number 5 I've put is, what are your morals? So what do you actually care about? Lay out what are your actual, like, what are your morals? What do you want your business, what do you want the foundations of your business to be about? And make sure that you're choosing suppliers that align with your morals. So if you are a skincare brand and you want to be completely cruelty free and vegan, make sure that your base products that you, so say you buy coconut oil to make your cleanser, make sure that the original people that sell you that coconut oil, they are themselves cruelty free. So make sure that like the breadcrumbs of your business align with what you want. And you know, you can be honest with people. You, like, for me, I've never said my products are manufactured in the UK, because they're not. I've always said in my product descriptions, my products are printed in the UK, because that's true. So think about your morals, think about how you want like the foundations of your business to be built on, and use those morals as your marketing plan as well. Do you want to have stock, or do you want to do drop shipping, print on demand? I went down the stock route because I wanted to have control over the packaging. I like to have a thank you note in my packages. I like to use eco-friendly, the scrunched up paper as like the padding. I like to wrap the products in tissue paper and bubble wrap, obviously. You think about whether you want to have like control over the packaging, whether you want to like write handwritten notes, or whether you don't mind them going directly from the supplier. If they're going directly from the supplier, that's one less middleman. That you're not having to then deal with that. So that's definitely something that I'm going to look at in the future potentially, because when you're limited on time, doing drop shipping cuts down your time significantly. You don't have to hold stock. You don't have to take up the entire garage like my stock has been doing. You don't have to do the postage and the packaging. You don't have to deal with, you know, any of the courier stuff. You don't have to buy in supplies, box supplies. So it does significantly reduce, first of all, your outgoings, and it will significantly reduce the time it takes you. You can basically create a design, you upload the design onto their website, they will fulfill the orders for you automatically. So you can, if you've got like an Etsy shop, for example, sometimes you can integrate the drop shipping company with Etsy. So for example, if you were a t-shirt company, you could have all of your products on Etsy, like all your product descriptions and everything. And when a customer clicks buy, you don't actually have to do anything. It goes straight to the supplier and they will package it and send it off for you. So it's a really, really good option for business owners, and it's definitely something that I will look at in the future. But then you lose, if you do drop shipping, then you lose the sort of control and like the more personal element of it. It just depends how you want to kind of work with your business. Next point is test the waters. Don't buy in loads of stock before buying in, don't buy in all of the stock that you think you're going to sell. I only got myself one of each to begin with, and then I did all of my product photography. So I had just one item each, and then I spent a day, probably 2 days, just doing product photography. That was something else that I really had to think about and learn about, and I looked at like examples on Pinterest, and I do have a big camera, like a digital camera, which is really, really old. I had it when I was at school, but it still works fine. Your iPhone, if you've got like a later version iPhone, they are fantastic. Like a lot of my work, I do take photos of it on the iPhone. But if you've got a digital camera, there's just something about them that just makes products photography, it just makes them look even better. So, you don't have to have fancy equipment, but it is a really good idea to go and take some professional photos of your items. I say professional. I mean, I literally just took my mugs and I put them like in the garden, but then I changed the focus so that the background's a bit blurry, but I made them look more professional because I put them in settings that would relate to my ideal target audience. And then I set up like a white sheet, and I did like some with like just a white background. So there's definitely, you can be creative with the product photography that you do. And then put those images on your social media and get people to do a survey. Do you like these designs? Which ones do you think you would like? People love to talk about themselves, and if you ask people questions, put like polls on your stories, they should come back to you. And also, I don't think people are against surveys, especially if you can say, well, they're only like 7 questions or, maximum 10 questions, and you give somebody something for doing it. Like, I've not found any issues with getting people to complete surveys. So it's just a really good way of like testing what people want before you buy in loads of stock. Where are you going to sell your products? So you could set up your own website. Like I said, I would recommend Shopify because it's the best platform, I think, for e-commerce, because you can add all of these different apps in that would really align with your business. So you can add in an app that does pre-orders. So that's another way of like testing the waters without buying in loads of stock. You can add in bundles. If you're building a brand around you as well as building an e-commerce brand, I think it's a really good idea to have a website, especially because the domain name will be like your business name. Etsy, again, are good, but I feel like if you are selling something that's handmade and you're selling it on Etsy, you have got so much competition from other people. Not to say that you shouldn't do it. I think people that sell on Etsy and they have like fantastic reviews, they're doing such a brilliant job, but you've got a lot of competition on that one platform. The downside, obviously, of your own website, the upside is you don't have as much competition in terms of you've got your own website, but then you're in competition with the other people on the Google rankings. So that's where your SEO comes in. Your SEO is still important on Etsy, but there's ups and downs of doing both. If you don't want to buy a domain name and you don't want to have many overheads, you don't want to sign up to Shopify, then start with an Etsy store, because you don't have to pay anything to get started. You just have to pay for when people buy things, I think. Hopefully I haven't got that wrong. If you want to just get yourself started, and then eventually you could move on to your own Shopify store. Also, if you have a business name in mind, first of all, put it into Google, see if anyone else has got it. Second of all, put it into Instagram. See if you've got the ability to have like a handle. I would definitely recommend buying a domain name, even if you are opening an Etsy store, because then you own that domain name and no one can then create a website or a business with the name that you want to use. There's I think it's just called names.com or names.co.uk, and you can buy a domain name, and I think for the first year it's £1 and then it's like £14 a year, so it's absolutely nothing. And obviously it doesn't stop anyone from using that name, but it will stop them from building a website with that name. We've already touched on this, but your product descriptions have got to be like full of SEO keywords, and not keyword stuffing, not just like adding loads of keywords to the end of a sentence, but creating like talking about why your product will help somebody and using the keywords that they would use to find your store. So really thinking about creating like product descriptions that flow really nicely, but they've got keywords in there that people would naturally search for, not just like stuffing them in just to get the keywords in. And the same with your images on Etsy or your images on your website. There's a thing called alt tags. So I think you can just like click on the image and then it says alt tag, and that is kind of like a way of putting in a description of the image, so helping your search engine optimization, because it's telling the internet what your image is about. Email marketing. So you don't own your Instagram account, you don't own Facebook, you don't own social media, but you do own your email list. So I would highly recommend, I think it's actually a necessity to start an email list. Give people a reason to go on it. Give people an incentive for giving them your email address. And then use the emails strategically to promote products, but also get them to know you as the founder, because you as the person is just as important as the product, because people will connect to people. They will want to buy from you because they like you as a person, or not necessarily you specifically, but your business. Like, what does the morals that I talked about earlier, like use everything about your business and about you to be part of your marketing strategy. And that includes email marketing. My next thing is, if you've done all that, so you've got your website or you've got your Etsy set up, you've got your product photography, you've got your product descriptions, you've got everything's kind of, you feel ready to launch something, you could do a soft launch. And what a soft launch is, that could be an exclusive like preview, like maybe a couple of products, that could be pre-orders, you could launch things in person, going to an event. So it's kind of like not putting absolutely everything on your website and saying go, 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 go. It works sometimes, and it especially works if you haven't got a big budget and you want to just a way of testing the waters. But you could then just also do a full on launch. The best time to do a launch I've found is the middle of the week. I have done launches before on a Friday. Doesn't work. I don't know why. I suppose people might be going out on a Friday. Like, think about your audience. Like, what are they doing? You know, also my mistake with the mystery boxes is I launched them at like 7 a.m. on a Tuesday, and that was a mistake. So I need to remember next time to launch them at like 6 p.m. when people are actually online, because even though my email subscribers would have got that email at 7 a.m., they're probably like heading out the door. Like, I don't know why that was just a mistake. Like I say, I make mistakes too. Like, I learn from experience, and I don't think launching something at 7 a.m. was the best idea. However, we learn, we move on. So the middle of the week, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I would say is the best time to launch something, and do it when most people are online. And then once you've launched your products, it's about, continuing to promote them without being too pushy. Get people to share. Once someone's bought something, encourage them to give a testimonial. Make sure you've got a testimonial app set up if you've got a Shopify store. Etsy, obviously, I think it's already integrated with that. Make sure people are sharing. Once people start sharing your products, that is when you will get more orders, because there's this thing called social proof, which again I've learned about from the Nudge podcast, and people like to buy stuff if they can see that other people are buying them too. So that's why testimonials are really, really important. That's why we have them on every single site that you pretty much see. There is always testimonials. I don't think testimonials work very well on Instagram necessarily, or other social media. I think every time I see a testimonial, I just kind of like flick through it. I think it's when you actually see them on the website and you're there looking at the product and then you see a testimonial. I think that's when it really helps. But there's no harm in sharing reviews and testimonials on your social media. I do still do that. But I think it works best when it's actually on the website. Personally, could be wrong, but personally that's my experience. Never assume that everybody has seen your post. My point earlier when I said about the using TikTok, and I don't normally use it as often, but never assume that when you put one post out or you put one email out that anyone has seen it. Just assume no one has seen it. Even friends have told me, the algorithm is just showing me so much random stuff and your stuff never comes up. And it's weird because like they might be your friend and they would want to see your stuff, but you can't control who sees your posts on social media. So I think it's really important to hit all of the social media platforms that you can physically manage into your day. Don't try and do them all if you can't physically do it. But I try and hit Instagram, and then I recycle the same content from Instagram into Facebook. TikTok, the reason I'm not as good on TikTok is because I feel like the videos have to be slightly different. I think TikTok videos for me have been better when I've done like a voiceover. So sometimes I try. This is the ideal strategy that I use for recycling my content over all the different platforms. But I will make a reel on Instagram. Before I've added any text over the top of the reel, I will save that. So before I've even edited it down and put it into music. So I put like all of the clips that I want in my one reel onto Instagram. So it's almost like too long. It might be like a minute long. I'll save that video so it goes onto my camera phone. Then I will make it into an Instagram worthy reel. So I will put trending audio. I'll cut the video down into like sections so that every time the beat changes on the music, then the camera changes. And I will add text over the top. I'll save that video as well. So I've got 2 versions of that video. I'll upload that video to Instagram. Then I've got the option, if I want to, of uploading it again on Facebook. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but it posts on Facebook anyway. And it does sometimes, but I have never physically seen, when I've posted something on Instagram and it says, yes, this is being shown on Facebook, and I can see on my insights that I'm getting Facebook likes and stuff. I don't know where that video is on Facebook. I feel like it goes into some weird Facebook universe and I don't know where it is. So I've started sharing that Instagram reel onto my Facebook page so that it goes onto my page, but it's not, you have to go onto Instagram to view it. So it's not the perfect option, but at least I'm then putting it onto my Facebook page. You could also upload that video individually as a Facebook reel, but then you have to put all the caption in again and stuff. So that just takes a bit more time. So for ease, I just share it onto my Facebook page. And then somewhere in the Facebook universe, the original reel is doing really well, but I don't know where it is. And then I will go onto TikTok and I will use the original video that I created that doesn't have the text and doesn't have the audio. I'll put that onto TikTok and I will either add a new audio that's related to TikTok or I will do a voiceover. So I'm using the same video, but I'm using it slightly differently on the different platforms. I haven't yet got into the mindset of doing stuff on Pinterest. I do know that you can automatically share, excuse me, you can automatically share stuff from Instagram to Pinterest. But if you do like a carousel post, for example, all those individual images will come up as individual pins on Pinterest. And it was starting to get really messy on my Pinterest. So I just kind of parked it for now and I'll go back to it another time. But those are ways that you can make sure that lots of people have seen your post. Use your Instagram stories and automatically share them to Facebook. And I sometimes find posts rather than videos do better on Facebook. So sometimes I will use the same caption that I've used on my Instagram reel and create like a Facebook post with a static photo. If you put an Instagram carousel onto Instagram, you can automatically share that to Facebook and it'll go on your Facebook page. That's no problem. But obviously reels are the best way of like pushing yourself to a wider audience. Hello, this is Bertie. You've been upstairs. Right, I haven't finished yet. So never assume everyone has seen your post, and use the different channels that you can fit into your day. You could launch more products then slowly. So think about the time of year. So it's Halloween's coming up. Have you got a pumpkin design, for example? Christmas is coming up. Have you got Christmas designs? Mother's Day, Father's Day. So think about the holidays in the year and how you could add more products to your range slowly throughout the year. So you're still keeping the interest of people because you're going to add new stuff. You're not like throwing it all in at once. Finally, in-person events. So if you've brought something to market, doing it online is brilliant and you might want to stay online, but if you want to go to events, then I think it's a fantastic way of reaching a wider audience, meeting people face to face, getting like almost immediate feedback on your products. And some people like completely boycott social media and they boycott being online now. Like lots of people are kind of getting rid of it. So, you want to meet those people in person. Really important to get yourself out there. If you want to, you can just do it all online. But I think events are such a good way of pushing your product. Wow. I feel like I've talked so much. That's probably why Bertie's come downstairs, because I've been talking longer than normal. I really hope that was useful about how I got my homeware products to launch. If you would like to get your hands on a mystery box, everything is online right now, and while stocks last, I'm not doing any restock, and they are such a lovely way of you to get some beautiful homewares for yourself, or you can regift them for Christmas. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to download this episode if you are listening to it. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. Please leave a rating and please leave a review. It will help me so much. And I just want to continue giving out advice and talking about my journey and how it can help your journey. And you have got this. You can do this business just like I can. So go and get. Thank you so much. See you next week. Bye.